Greetings and salutations, I'm the Raven. And joining me is JK Lantern.
We were reconnecting shit, right? It's been a couple weeks.
Yes, unfortunately. StarprincessHLC.
So when do we pull the lever?
I think we passed the point of pulling the lever.
Oh.
And finally, Savat.
Let's hope it doesn't randomize the diagram layout on you between sessions.
That would suck.
I'd like to hope that, if they just save it, that it stays in that particular file.
Like, I know in the CD-ROM version of Space Quest 4, they randomize... I'm pretty sure they randomize one or two of the time coordinates.
Oh, hey.
Each time you
Guys
start
like
the
music
game.
too?
And you have your wiring diagram over there, so...
Yeah. Really?
That's all my wire. That's the harp playing pattern, I'm pretty sure.
The claw...
Oh, it looked like he was playing the harp.
So he shall play the harp.
It looked like he was shaking what his mama gave him.
Well, that looks right, at least.
Oh god, hexagon twerking.
I think I'll let him play for a while.
He is not twerking. There is no twerking going on there.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
I don't remember the context of the rest of the episode, but I vividly remember something from The Fresh Prince involving that song, which I personally found hilarious. Like, it's such a dumb joke, but I still love it.
Ooh,
Now the power.
we did pull the lever.
I think. On.
On, off, on, off. Right, where's the hammer?
Sun up, sun down. Sun up, sun down.
Nighttime, daytime.
This switch is just an old drum mallet. I hope the engine's not.
Switch
just
goes
a
up,
tuba.
switch goes down. Switch goes up, switch goes down.
Also, we got a hammer.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. Hammer over morning. Go to hammering. Why won't it stop?
Hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening, hammer at supper time. When
hammer's on a
hammer's on a bagel, you can have hammer.
What a hammer even tastes like?
Oh my god. So when
You know, don't you?
years ago, when I was in high school, the church I grew up in was trying to do fundraising for, I think was the let's see here.
Hey.
Skylar was on that trip. Sam was on that trip. It must have been it had to have been the Chicago trip, didn't it? Yeah, I think it was the Chicago trip. We were trying to do fundraising for the Chicago mission trip. And so we recorded this video about, like, our team is the most competent team that we're of teenagers that we're sending out on this mission trip ever. And so we actually divided the people going up on the trip for the purposes of this advertisement into two teams, Team Competent and Team Incompetent. I was part of Team Incompetent, mostly because, like, my ability to look completely befuddled and my ability to scratch my head with my foot. But, one of the recurring jokes like one of the jokes that came up repeatedly in our little
No, I think
video
the space
advertisement
fever
to
would
get people
feel
to
it.
donate was like, clearly none of Team B knows what they're doing, so like, they're going to be working on various home building projects. They hand me a hammer, I look at it and shrug. I hand it to one of the other kids, they looked at it and shrugged. Hand it to this kid, Sam. He looks at it and he tries to eat it.
How
And so, like, for the rest of the video, just randomly, there would be somewhere in the corner Sam trying to eat this damn hammer.
We are going to get blown to bits.
What did it taste like?
Iron.
Unhook those.
There are no ship shields. We threw the fusion orb out
Because
the
of course, you have a story for that.
protocol for this situation. This is new territory.
Like, the two things I remember about that advertisement was Sam trying to eat the damn hammer in, like, every clip. And one clip we had to shoot twice because, like, our team is ready to go. And rip-roaring into action. I wake up at the crack of noon, get up, look around, scratch my butt. Youth director's like, no, don't scratch your butt. We have to do another take of this.
Hang on, I'm coming right down.
But it's a cute butt.
Good job.
Hey.
You keep them both occupied for a while, okay?
I mean, most people have to scratch various parts of their anatomy throughout the day as it is.
Apparently, that being in a video shown at a church service would have been frowned upon.
I shouldn't be gone too long.
Apparently having a butt is a sin.
Granted, we also got in trouble when the choir director at that church at that time was having like a big solo that he was showing one of his mentors. And keep in mind, the choir director thought this was hilarious and amazing that we did this. My dad, myself, my siblings, and a bunch of other random, like, kids at the time, when Barry got done with the solo, we stuck up scorecards.
Now we're talking.
The pastor made us write a letter of apology later. Even though Barry was like, "Oh man, that was so cool." Like the presbytery, the elders, and whatnot were like, "Yeah, no, you're gonna have to write letters."
Did you get bad scores?
Come in, Gary.
Hell no, we were like 9.8, 9.9, 9.8, 9.7.
So why did you need what? You need to apologize for saying you did a good job?
I think it was for being irreverent in a very serious thing. We have guests from outside of the church, very serious guests.
Was the Pope involved?
It's the Presbyterian church. They don't have a pope.
So what do they care?
Should we do something about that?
Oh, I don't think we should touch
And you know anything about this? Had I handled this puzzle sensibly, we could have got this LP recorded fully last time.
Late. The meltdown has started.
What are you talking about? This is all one continuous recording. We haven't slept in weeks.
You know that explains the pink elephants I keep seeing.
Mine are purple.
And it's taking us with it.
Oh my god, that Snickers bar became a Butterfinger. No one's gonna get that joke. I need to remember which episode of MST3K that was.
You have to jump.
My Snickers bar became sand. Or was it the other way around? Either way, it was kind of gritty.
That would also explain why Lantern was in a play with a cave troll this morning.
Watch out!
Hey!
I have context for that, and I still have no idea what the hell that was about. I feel like we should be, like, dying right now.
getting punched.
I thought you were.
Let's get down to business to beat up
Yeah,
this jerk.
do that too.
I mean, bakers can. There are bakers out there that you don't want to tangle with.
Mom!
You ever have to haul around 50 pounds of flour? That shit'll give you some muscles.
I mean, unless you're using exclusively stand mixers and stuff, mixing stuff by hand is not bad exercise.
This is very true.
Well, he's doomed.
Well, see you in
That
hell
was the
then.
last anyone ever saw of Shay.
Oh,
Never
God damn
mind.
it.
Goodbye, Elijah. We will see you in the Legend of Spyro.
Superman.
Be good.
All right, that guy. I forgot we had the little dude that had all the multiple arms.
That's slightly grotesque.
This is not a chicken?
Hey, spicy chicken.
And now we have made a bridge between two worlds. It's almost like a visual metaphor.
Yeah.
Except much more literal.
Look, I made a bridge. It all took of 10 seconds, 11 tops.
I learned that the voice of that guy is the guy who plays Father Guido Sarducci.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That gave me some warm fuzzies.
And how many people watching this know who Father Guido Sarducci is?
Almost nobody. That was an odd place to end right there.
Yep.
I think I can turn that ends with she punching him in the face.
And the ironic thing would be that's a courtship ritual in this world. It's like bongo.
Some of the complaints in the forums is they had a spark. Is that they wanted to see a romance starting between those two. And someone pointed out, there's nothing there. Just
They're what, 13?
Yeah. Yeah.
like I
Their
said, it's
their
like-
interaction was just a punch.
Yes, I just didn't even land it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look over at Grandia 1 knowingly real quick. Okay. Yeah, this wasn't a bad game. It was a little disjointed for me because I was gone for a chunk of it. But yeah, this was pretty solid as far as point and clicks go. I wouldn't call it one of the best, but far from the worst I've seen.
That ending with the wiring puzzles drove me crazy the first time round. And you saw how long it took last time, where being processed, I put up that entire section at double speed.
I don't mind the wiring puzzles. That just feels like a solid puzzle to me.
Gee,
But having to flip back and forth between the two of them, it messes with the story cohesiveness a little bit too much.
And it does.
and that's not the only time I've seen that idea done, and sometimes it works better than others. In terms of this one, again, definitely because I was missing for a chunk of this, it does make it feel janky, for lack of a better term.
And the problem isn't that you were looking between two viewpoints. the problem for me is that the only reason you really needed to go to one viewpoint or the other was because you ran into, like, the wiring diagrams. You ran into those in one side and had to apply them in the other. It just feels like you needed to keep the puzzle solutions kind of localized to their own environment. And it would have been different if they, if it had been stuck to just, oh, character A triggers a switch that turns on power for something for person B. That I don't mind, but when you're taking, like, puzzle solutions, clues, and all this that have nothing to do with the area that person's in and are just applied to the area the other person's in, it just kind of throws me a little bit.
Yeah, gee, person A saw this diagram, so suddenly person B knows it, even though there's no logical reason that they should. Yeah.
I mean, I get why they did it. It just, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. Cake.
Ron Gilbert, and the special thanks.
Oregon Web, too. What the heck?
Well, maybe it was a decent game. First act's definitely about solid. But
the first act for both characters was pretty freaking solid, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we get to the second act, and as you pointed out, between the two characters and some of the puzzles, was a case of, are you kidding me? Like, whereas we got enough to work from. It's just random trying to figure these things out, like the pipes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think part of it was also because there was a split between making Act 1 and Act 2. It was kind of like with how Telltale was doing theirs, where the different chapters were in production at different times. So that could be part of it.
And for the wiring puzzles, it's a case of, oh, we have at least 3 to 4 diagrams we need to know. The dancing, the harp, the repair, and the weaving.
This is going to be an odd comparison. This is going to be a very strange comparison, so bear with me. I'm reminded of some of the issues of, like, some of the 90s era epic mega games. Hear me out. That was the era of shareware, for those of you familiar with that. Basically, companies would send out demos of games that had, like, a little bit of the game in it, and the big ones that did this were things like Epic and then Apogee/3D Realms, where you don't get
and id
yeah,
software.
and id, where you get some of the features, but you don't get the full game. And so the one where this problem sticks out the most is, for me anyway, is Tyrion. In Tyrion, I only had the shareware version as a kid, and it's amazing.
So you
that
only had the first act.
Yeah, I only had the first act, but the first act had, like, all of these branching paths, this pretty cool plot for a game that doesn't need a cool plot, awesome gameplay, etc., etc.
And all the secret modes as well.
And all the secret modes. When you get to the full game, though, when you get particularly episodes 2 and 3, episode 4 fixes this a little bit because it got released later, but anyway, episodes 2 and 3, they're fine. They are fine. They're still great gameplay. It's still a lot of fun. But, like, the paths, it doesn't have nearly as many branching paths with secret levels and whatnot. It felt like they put all of their effort into that early part. That's kind of how the Acts 1 for each of these characters felt. Like, they built up this really cool world and setting with these two characters. And, like, all of the really cool stuff, all of the coolest bits, are in that first chunk. Are we all following me?
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. There's also another game from Windows. It was on Windows, but it was released kind of the same way, called Castle of the Winds. I don't know if you ever saw that one, but it was basically a tile-based RPG where you got to only complete like up to the first goal, and then you had to buy the full package.
Yeah.
Well, all the cool bits were already in the first bit, and everything after that felt just like padding.
Again, it's not like the rest of the game is bad or anything. It's just like the first part of it was cool, and everything else is fine. Just like after that first really, really cool bit, everything else feels kind of not bad, but a letdown almost.
Mm.
I mean, other games like, the Jazz Jackrabbits and the Duke Nukems and, those type of games, they suffered from that quite a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as someone who lived through the 90s and remembers those 3.5-inch floppy disks full of various level 1s of different games, and then you'd find the one or two you like, manage to find the full version of it, and the rest of the game just didn't live up to that first bit.
I will say, the one of those that we actually purchased, even though I've played many, many shareware games, well, two, because we also got Duke Nukem, but that's another story. One Must Fall 2097. We got the demo to that along with Jazz Jackrabbit, Mystic Towers, and Hocus Pocus. One Must Fall, my brother ended up buying the full version of, and the rest of the game was not a letdown. But that's because it's a fighting game. Basically, in the demo version of OMF, you were only able to use 3 out of the 11 robots. In the one-player mode, you were only allowed to use, like, half of the characters, and a bunch of the secrets were locked. You were only able to do one of the tournaments in career mode. So, like, you get the full game, and it's like, hell yeah, this was absolutely worth it, because holy shit, there's a whole lot more I can do now. And this is awesome. I can be that robot that I've been staring at the character select screen that I've been really friggin' curious about.
And yeah, when you have something like that where they actually lock away new content, and make no mistake, new characters are new content, especially when it comes to a fighting game. If you enjoy what you get with the first, couple of robots, the rest of them may actually be worth buying.
Look, Courage really wanted to play as the Flail. Are you gonna take that away from him?
Depends if I wanted to troll him or not.
The Flail is objectively the best robot design in that game, because seriously, what the hell am I looking at?
Look, I would take your word for it, but you consider the urban mech a good mech.
So one of we're going all over the place with this lengthy ass credit sequence.
Well, it's going alphabetically, and we're still in the M's.
Oh god. So like the premise behind One Must Fall is basically you're trying to get a better job in the big evil mega corporation you're in. Everybody's equally qualified. What do? Make construction bots fight. So like you have all these robots that have are not necessarily designed for combat. They have specialized purposes, like you have an electric one, you have one with a flamethrower jetpack, you have one that can stop time, which, holy shit, how does it do that? So what is it? But they're all vaguely humanoid shape. Except the flail. This thing is this squat little robot with this big wide-ass torso with giant beefy arms. It has wheels, and it has two big chains with these big, heavy, blunt objects on the end, sticking off the top of it. What's it built for? It's built for knocking down buildings. It's this ridiculously chunky-looking thing, and it was hard to use in the game, as I recall. It's kind of like the Zangief of the game in a lot of ways. But oh my god, it's ridiculous looking. It hits like a boss, and it's fun to use. I thought I saw PB&J in there for a second. I'm like, thank you, peanut butter and jelly. You're delicious. Uh-oh.
Aww. It would have to be that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is... How can you not love that robot design?
It seems somewhat impractical for being a demolition bot. It doesn't look like it has a very sturdy base from which to actually get enough torque to swing the wrecking balls on it.
Look, if we could have a robot with flingable magnetic hands that are used for mining somehow, we can have a fucking crane bot with wrecking balls.
You also have one that you have one called Gargoyle that has wings. I think they gave up on the premise of these being construction bots at some point.
The Gargoyle one's in theory a recon one with stealth capabilities, and it's sad that I remember that. I know in the hardcore competitive play, which I wasn't in that scene, the Gargoyle was considered like the top tier robot. Like it had one
named.
It had like one really awesome infinite combo of death if you were playing the right mode.
You have one named Katana. Take a guess what weapons it has at the end of its arms.
A mace.
The Katana was my favorite one to play as.
It has pickaxes.
They're monomolecular blades, thank you very much, and the thorn.
Those are pickaxes.
No, they are flat cutting implements. They're not pickaxes. The thorn is the one that's designed with pickaxes.
The thorn has spikes sticking out of its upper arm.
The thorn is also really fun to play, just because it has one really friggin' easy move to do.
Those are pickaxes attached to the end of its arms.
Those are monomolecular blades, damn it. Those are for chopping, not for breaking rocks.
They sure look like pickaxes.
Lantern, sir, you're full of bullshit.
Those are for slicing. Those are for slicing, not breaking.
Sir, I have a point to pick with you. Those are pickaxes.
They're blades.
This video is also half an hour long, so let's wrap this up. So, this has been Broken Age. It's alright. I've been the Raven. That's been J.K. Lantern. Pickaxes. And he's a
blades.
And he's a toaster.
He's soap.
I was gonna say it if you didn't.
StarprincessHLC.
We gotta look for a toaster, actually.
And Sivat.
It is a toaster.
He's canonically soap.
And until next time, be good, be well, and we'll be back with something new. Later.
Later.
Bye.
Ryan.
He actually looks like a lunchbox in some pictures.